Welcome to another edition of the CPO Board Member Spotlight, brought to you by the Office of Colorado's Child Protection Ombudsman. Today we're talking with the newest addition to the CPO Board, Adams County Commissioner Charles Tedesco. Honorably serving in the U.S. Navy, Commissioner Tedesco was a master mechanic for 23 years and served as a local president of the United Steelworkers Union from 2005 to 2013. Elected to the Adams County Board of Commissioners in 2013, Commissioner Tedesco championed Homes for Hope, an innovative program for emergency foster care for children in Adams County. He also serves as vice chair of the former Foster Care Youth Steering Committee for the state of Colorado. A former foster youth, Commissioner Tedesco was appointed this year by the Colorado Senate President to serve in the lived experience seat on the board. Commissioner, thank you for joining us. So, how did you first hear about the Child Protection Ombudsman Office?
Well, that's a great question. I did not know about the CPO for the longest time, and I was very surprised that I didn't know about the CPO. But over time, I had learned about the CPO, and in talking to Tori Schuler, who is probably one of the most amazing people I know, and have worked with her on many numerous projects, and she's been familiar with what we've done here in Adams County. I understood that she was coming to an end of her term on the board and was looking for someone else who had foster experience and was in the foster program. And my name popped up, I guess. And so I was contacted and asked if I'd be interested in filling that position. And I said, absolutely. Anything I could do to help, change the system and make improvements and better care for our children in foster care, I'm all in. So, the Child Protection Ombudsman is a very, very important program. I've been doing my research, and I think that the people on this board are very influential and can make some very good changes as long as we are willing to think outside of the box.
What interested you about becoming a board member?
Oh, I think the importance of being a board member is the experience part. And for me, that's my experience as a foster child and my experience at working with other foster individuals, both adult now and in the teenage and youth years. And being able to translate what their needs were and what their experiences were and be a voice of what can we do to change the system to make it understand what a child goes through these systems. I want to say I absolutely believe that people running in the human services and providing the programs and providing the services are doing everything they see fit and need to do, and within their criteria of limitations. But I don't think that they actually see it from the point of view and the passionate view of the people who are actually in the system and what it means to them and what the effect is on them. And I think that this is such an important role to be on the board and be a voice to express that. And, I've always said that my story isn't the only story, and you can ask every single foster what their story is. And I don't think that any of them match. But there are commonalities that we need to be aware of that I don't believe we have addressed yet.
Can you talk about your lived experience and how that connects you to the CPO's work?
My sister and I were both put into foster care. I was put into foster care at birth. She was put into foster care when I was put into foster care. We have different fathers, but the same mother. And, I spent a lot of time in different foster homes than my sister. But I saw and I missed that connectivity with her. They didn't keep us together. And, my sister was very, very protective of me. She always wanted to know where I was and what I was doing. And in doing so, created issues for herself. She was treated very, very badly. She was physically abused, emotionally abused, She has a very hard time talking about her foster care experience, and she has things that she doesn't want to share. But between her and I, and my experience, I came through with a supportive older foster family, and they took care of me and gave me the things that I needed. And I think it was because I was younger. They really tried to influence how I would handle going from home to home. But the system was so rigid, it didn't give for the needs of the child. It gave for what it thought was the appropriate services the child need, but it didn't give for what the child needed, and it didn't ask the child what the child needed. That's my concern: is we're not enough in the realm of taking care of the child's needs than we need to, and the needs of what their mental anguishes are. We just wanted to belong. That's what we wanted. And we just needed someone to be real and honest with us about what was going on. And we didn't get that. We got, well, they wouldn't understand, or they wouldn't, this would create more damage than it will. And that's not the case. I don't believe that telling anyone the truth about their situation that they're going to find out later in life anyways is the wrong thing to do. We need to make sure that we're open and honest with this. And I think this board is addressing that. This board is understanding that there are things that need to be changed. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a voice in that. And I want to carry that voice through this entire process for as long as I can. But we need to change something. Our statistics aren't changing. In 50 years, I think our statistics are basically around the same per the population. And that's not being successful. And I think that we have an opportunity to be that change and make it successful.
From your experience as a county commissioner, what are some of the biggest issues you've seen regarding our child protection system?
When I came into being an Adams County commissioner, it was something that I wanted to step into. And I started to take a look at, what are we doing? How are we doing it? And, for me, it was, how do I make changes now that don't take 20 years to get done? Right. And I think that's one thing with human services that I have seen is that everything is written, everything is in a book. And everyone you talk to, at least that I talk to, well, it's not written that way. We can't really do it that way because we're not allowed to do it that way. Well, yeah, that's the problem. We need to think outside of the box, and we need to find ways that we can better serve the unique experiences of each individual child. We've written a book that covers just about everything, but it covers it in a blanket way. When I came in, we had homes that we were taking our foster kids to that we'd have to drive 8 hours one way to. Our staff is overworked. They have over 100 cases per caseworker. And to take 8 hours out of their day for a one-way trip, which is 16 hours, if you think about it, for the one trip for one child. And then you add that with a 30-day mandatory revisit of another 16 hours, you now have 32 hours out of that month dedicated to one child, when we had the opportunity to keep that child here in our district, in our area in Adams County, and allow them to be safe, to have kinship visits, to stay in their school, to be with their friends, and lessen the trauma that they see on a daily basis through something that had nothing to do with what they did. And we did that. We opened 2 homes, and we now can serve our kids in our community and allow for those things to happen. Those are small changes, that make immense impacts on these kids that we're trying to serve. And it allows us to be appropriate in our actions when we look for proper foster care, when we look for kinship reunification, when we look for returning them back to their family. We now have the time and the resources and the availability to do it on a better basis. Those are the kinds of changes that everyone can start making on small scales that are going to make the bigger impacts on the whole.
So, what do you hope to contribute during your tenure as a board member?
For me, this board is important because it'll give me a better viewpoint, a better vantage point of how human services work. What are the issues, the intricate issues of each individual family? What are some things that we're missing? What are some things that I haven't seen yet? What are some things that we haven't addressed yet? How are some of the things that we're implementing impacting these families and these statistics? Those are the things that I hope to glean with the CPO. Well, the main, focus is, how do we help these families? How do we help these kids? How do we ensure that they're being treated fairly and equitably? And, that we're addressing those needs in a timely manner. Those are the things that I'd like to see, while I'm on this board. When I look back at the board, I'll just say what I think that is the most important to me. I want to leave it better than I found it. And Tori Schuler is an amazing person. And to leave it better than I found it is going to take a lot of work. And I'm very much up for that.
Well, Commissioner, thank you again for your time and service to the CPO.
Thank you, sir.